This is question 12 of the second section of LSAT PrepTest 157, the first logical reasoning section. As always, we've got a highlight tool ready to go, and we read the question in STEM to start. Which one of the following most accurately describes a flaw in the argument's reasoning? So we should be able to identify the task word of flaw almost immediately, and we can go straight to the paragraph, and we're going to try to identify the conclusion, highlight that conclusion, and then we're going to predict mentally what a flaw might be if it's readily apparent. So we read the art student statements. Great works of art evoke passionate responses in those who view them. Thus, since it is well known in art circles that the provocative art work of abstract painter Ezekiel Riley elicits intensely emotional responses in those who view them, his art is great. Well, the conclusion is that this gentleman, Ezekiel Riley's art is great. And the reasoning provided is that it's well known in art circles that the provocative work of abstract painter Ezekiel Riley elicits intensely emotional responses in those who view them. Now, this is one of those instances where there are conditionals in the statements and you might want to track them closely, but we don't want to engage with a scratch paper. It's just a little too time consuming. So we're going to change our highlight colors to track those conditionals. So the first statement is great works of art evoke passionate responses in those who view them. So we know if it's a great work of art, it evokes a passionate response. But then I'm going to switch my highlight color to orange because we know that Ezekiel Riley's art elicits intensely emotional responses in the viewers. So it's actually backwards. It says that if it elicits an emotional response that's intense, well, then it's great art. But you can't just flip the conditions and make the necessary sufficient if you recall those terms from any of your prior LSAT prep. So we know that just because a great art work elicits passionate response doesn't mean that the reverse is true, that if a piece of art elicits an emotional response, that it's automatically great. So we want to have that in mind as we go to our answer choices, looking for reasons to eliminate them. So starting with choice A, one of the premises used to support the argument's conclusion assumes the truth of that conclusion. Well, it doesn't assume the truth of anything, so that's going to be incorrect. If we just track it, we know that it has to deal with the conditionality, and this answer choice A has no conditions really tied to it. Then choice B, the argument treats a condition that is necessary for having a certain quality. The fact that passionate responses in those who view the art is necessary for a great work of art. So, condition that is necessary absolutely match what we just kind of predicted. For having a certain quality, as if it must also be sufficient for having that quality. And that, again, is the technical definition of an improper reversal of the conditional facts. So, B, 100% in rather abstract LSAT terminology, matches the prediction that we had of just saying, well, just because this type of thing has this other thing doesn't mean that the other thing guarantees that you're this type of thing. It's the same way as saying that just because I'm in Sacramento guarantees that I'm in California. But being in California doesn't guarantee that I'm in Sacramento. So then moving on to the rest of the answer choices, again, hopefully moving briskly through them once we recognize that B is correct. Choice C reads, the argument misapplies a general claim about the members of a class. Well, we don't talk about individual pieces of art. So as soon as I see members of a class, I should be able to eliminate C immediately. Then choice D, the argument contains a generalization derived from an insufficient number of instances. Well, again, it's not about Ezekiel Riley leading to great works of art. It's about Ezekiel Riley's art specifically. So it's only the conclusion is only concerned with one instance as opposed to the other way around. So D really, if anything, is a reversal. And then choice E, the argument draws a conclusion expressing a value judgment from premises that do not involve statements about values. Well, absolutely, the premises do involve a statement about value. The value is a great work. That's just a value judgment about the value of that art. So we can eliminate choice E as soon as we recognize that. And as we stated, hopefully you could break down the conditional statements using highlighting tools to avoid wasting time engaging scratch paper to come to the correct answer of choice B.